Often enough, if antifreeze does get into drinking water, you can't boil antifreeze out of drinking water. Sadly enough, part two, if you want to say that, it doesn't come out. So when you dump it, a liter or 3 liters in antifreeze into the river, you will see it go pretty much downriver. Where these companies that got busted, all 9 of them are completely out of business. Only I think there's one antifreeze company inside North America, and if they get caught busting, if ex-employees or employees get caught busting, or anyone gets caught busting dumping antifreeze in freshwater streams or in wells, you will get in trouble. Goes back 20 owners. The house has 40 owners, it will go back 40 owners. It's undetectable in some senses, but it can be tasted to a certain level when you throw up. Now, as far as the idea you can't get hurt unless you let it go too far, as far as refining, what they refer to as refining oil. You have fun, Taylor Swift? Anyways, a part of that is of certain things is one thing. If you allow it to boil, it probably won't hurt the oil, but you get a nasty ass little mess. You have to let it cool back down, and you're more than likely just made chop. CHOP. That's why I only recommend 110 degrees to 120 degrees when trying to do this. Not hard to boil it. It is better than your Valvoline and your casseroles, but I only recommend so much of it. And that's where people back in 1980 got kind of discouraged and a little bit confused. Why is it making such a mess? That's what it all does. You need to have lubrication in between metal parts, unless you're using real metal. And even then you should. But this 3-4 compound metal or 2 to 3 compound metal ain't no good, even 1 to 2. But it does work. You just gotta let the customer know that you used multi-purpose grease, which they call viscosity. It's not viscosity, it's grease, dumbass. Unless you're a diesel truck driver. Because technically you can take your engine oil, if you have high rated spark plugs, and dump it right in your diesel tank with added diesel. I know this because I've done it long enough. All cars that have flex fuel systems require high spark in their flex fuel systems. And mainly it's because they can run on and off multiple fuels. That means kerosene, preferably mixed with gas, before you melt your engine. Some can do diesel. You have to read your owner's manual. I'm not going to sit there and tell you all the different ones, but you have to read your owner's manual to actually find out what it can run as far as the different petros and diesels, because they are better if you do follow them. As far as your independent shop owners, and I'm not going to name any, but your independent and your car sales shop owners that are off the side from Dodge, Chevy, and all them, not everything they say is truthful. I've actually taken 40 over 60 done a certain way. I kind of figured out my mess up. 40 over 60 done a certain way and made more more water burn than octane, but it requires a certain thing, which is making soot, which is not black soot or chimney soot. It's actually a way of making octane and thickening it with a very little amount of water. Even though in the end process you'll be using more water to actually make the petrol, but it's in making the concentrate, you make it in soot so that the way the distilling goes for the water, so it actually accepts it. Otherwise, octane is not acceptable in some senses to salt water and fresh water. A little bit more on salt water than fresh water, considering the infusion of nitrogen is often done in distilled salt water to make it viable for fuel. That's where you get the flex fuel. That's just one of the ingredients for a long list of things needed to be done. But anyway, that's all I'm going to say right now. A lot of people kind of are bantering. Like I said, when you get into adding certain things, you got to up the spark plug rating, as well as it's not a solenoid, even though they like to call it a solenoid, the amperage on the spark, which if you do that, you got to worry about your piston and blowing the top of your piston off. And yes, I have made a underwater aquatic engine that works a certain way, which is kind of stupid, 2 engines, but anyway, have a good day.